Good day. I am Marvin Broadwater Sr., and I'm just here to try to give the evaluators of my report another look. Thought of this idea this morning. A friend of mine said, hey, let's do it, and I'm here. The two things that my report or my write-up keys in on, one is mentorship, and the other is fatherhood conversation, a fatherhood initiative and youth mentoring committees for the fraternity. I want to thank God, first of all, for me to be in this position to even be considered for the International Omega Man of the Year for Omega Psi Phi fraternity. Hadn't been in a long time, only 20 years, but I do believe that every single day should be a day of working for the fraternity. God has put me in a position to be retired, to honestly wear my colors and work every single day. I'll just say this, mentoring. Mentoring is extremely important to me. I mentor in my church. I'm in charge of youth ministry activities in my church. And I am the chairman of the Omega Lamplighters for my local chapter here in Columbus, Lambda Iota chapter. And I believe that when you are retired or you are blessed, that blessing is for somebody else. It ain't for you. You think it's for you. But the reason that you are retired or you made it to retirement is to bless somebody else. And I've tried the last 2 years to take these Omega Lamplighters to a different level with some private donors from the city. The city has given us a couple of grants. Some private donors have given us funds because they believe in the program. And you see, the program is based off a couple of principles. If you use the acronym LAMP, we want to teach these young men leadership with a keen emphasis on academics, and we want to teach them about maturity. And then we will also talk to them about perseverance. Now, Brother Broadwater does things a little bit different. I do believe that when it comes to mentorship, you can't just go into the school once a month, twice a month, for 1 hour, and then see the student and talk to the students about what they should be doing. I believe that you've got to take them on that weekend when you have your free time and they have free time, and you are able to talk to them about those things that matter in life. And we talk about, believe it or not, we talk about everything. We've got one young man that's a junior at Yale. Now I got to tell you about that young man. That young man was labeled of not being able to be taught. He was going to go to an alternative school, and someone said, hey, I think it should be an Omega Lamplighter program. Lamplighters took him for, I think, about 5-6 months. They realized that he had a learning disability that could be overcome. He went to the #1 public high school in the state of Georgia, which is Columbus High School, and found out that he could learn. To the tune, Yale gave him a scholarship. I don't know how many people that happens to, but that's what happened. And I think that I'm over 60, 63, 4, something like that. But one of the things that I realize is that you have to give back every day, especially if you're retired. You got to give back somehow, some way. Whether you're giving it back to our youth or you're mentoring members of our fraternity, it is extremely important that you give back, that you don't just sit on your laurels. And you don't, and this program, and I'll tell you this program, the Omega Lamplighters, were named for 2 years in a row the best youth mentoring program in Georgia for Omega. And then they were named for 2 years in a row the best program in the 7th district. And the 7th district consists of 4 states. That's Alabama, Florida, Mississippi, and Georgia. So they were the best. And the reason I think that they were the best is because we engaged them so much. I've got fantastic men that don't mind giving back to these young men. So that's part of what I do. The next thing is I'll talk about, and I'll be very short, is fatherhood, the Fatherhood Initiative and Youth Mentoring Committee. I serve on the international committee. I was instrumental in assisting the chairman at that time of making this a mandated program for the fraternity. Now it's mandated for the entire fraternity. Every chapter has to have that type of committee in the chapter. But specifically here in Georgia, fatherhood, we have taken it to a whole new level. We partnered with the Georgia Department of Human Services where we conduct something called Fatherhood Conversation. I negotiated a few contracts with Georgia Department of Human Services, and they get federal grants that they give money to the state for us to conduct those programs throughout the state of Georgia. And let me tell you what those programs do. Those programs help non-custodial fathers. And most of the fathers look like you and I. 89% of the fathers with cases look like you and I. But what is that program? What are the services? Well, for one, if a father has had his driver's license taken for non-payment of child support, you give the program ensures that they get their license back. Well, what that means is you can't work if you can't get to work. You can't work to pay the money to pay your child support unless you get it. So they get in that program. Then the program actually, if they want to go to they want to get their GED, they pay for that. They send them back to school. If they want to go to college, and they've taken some entrance exams, they can go to college. It helps them also helps them find a job. And then there's some cases where you have there is a need for child support modification. Not in all cases, but in some cases. And I just think this is one of the greatest programs that I've ever been associated with. But that's what I do. That's who I am. That is the actual block of who Marvin Broadwater Sr. is. I do a whole lot of other stuff, like with domestic violence and the AARP. But when I look at my day, I'm going to spend most of my times on those 2 programs. And then I'll work the day through the other programs. But I just want to thank you for this opportunity to just present this to you. And I hope you have a blessed day.